Hey everyone, welcome back to Chicago Reacts. My name is Kit, this is Jose, and we are once again going to be reacting to the video series Alexander the Great, where we last left Alexander the Great and his friends on their fantastic, bizarre journey for peace and prosperity. They're going to be facing off now against the King of Kings of Persia. And here's hoping that through diplomacy and words, that the Persian king understands Alexander the Great, because at the end of the day, he was forced into this life.
Right.
And I think it's time we give peace a chance. I hope that Alexander is not forced into more violence, because I have to say, I believe in his vision of world peace.
Don't force him.
In 334 BC, Alexander, the 21-year-old king of Macedonia,
21.
led a coalition of Greek forces
I
against
didn't
the
have my stuff
greatest
together at
power
21.
of the age, the Persian Empire.
Well, he was handed a king.
He led an army of skilled veterans. At its heart, men of the Macedonian phalanx, armed with the 18-foot sarissa pike, and the elite horsemen of his companion cavalry. Together, at the Battle of the River Granicus, they'd won a first decisive victory over the Persian army. Now, as Alexander approached Sardis, capital of the Persian province of Lydia, its commander surrendered without a fight. But before Alexander could advance further, he needed to neutralize Persian naval power. Persia had a powerful fleet with major naval bases around the eastern Mediterranean that could potentially cut his lines of communication back to Greece. Rather than challenge the Persians at sea, Alexander decided to attack its nearest bases, the Greek coastal cities of Miletus and Halicarnassus. Both put up determined resistance, but were taken by winter. The following spring of 333 BC, Alexander continued his advance into Lycia and Phrygia. At Gordium, he was shown the legendary Gordian Knot. A prophecy said that whoever could unpick it would rule all Asia. Alexander simply took his sword and sliced it in half.
Rude.
Sometimes no, he did it through peace.
Meanwhile, Memnon of Rhodes, a skilled Greek general in Persian
kept the entire
service,
province together
led
for
Persian
years, and
warships into the Aegean and captured the islands of Chios and Lesbos. But after Memnon's sudden death from illness, the offensive was abandoned. "18 months had passed since Alexander's army crossed the Hellespont and invaded the Persian Empire. Now Alexander led his men into Cilicia and was soon poised to cross the Nur Mountains into Syria. But then the main Persian army, led by King Darius III himself, emerged behind the Greek army to the north. Darius was determined to trap and destroy Alexander's army, which he outnumbered almost 2 to 1. So he blocked Alexander's only escape route by moving his army to the coastal plain near Issus, just 6 miles wide, from mountains to sea.
Took the highway.
The narrow battlefield would force Alexander to fight, but it also prevented Darius exploiting his huge numerical advantage. His army, by some estimates, was up to 100,000 strong, and contained some of the finest soldiers in his vast empire, including 10,000 of his own household troops, known as the Immortals.
We'll put that name to the test.
His best cavalry were massed on his right towards the sea, where the ground was better for horses. His best infantry, his Greek mercenary hoplites, formed the center. Persian infantry formed his left wing. Alexander deployed his own army for battle, once again entrusting his left wing, nearest the sea, to Parmenion, with the Greek cavalry and infantry. In the center, as always, was the Macedonian phalanx. Alexander positioned himself and his best troops on the right wing, toward the mountain slopes. His elite Agriane javelin throwers, his archers, and behind them the Hypaspists and the companion cavalry. When Alexander saw the strength of the Persian cavalry facing Parmenion on the left, he moved across his Thessalian cavalry to reinforce him. Despite his overwhelming numbers, Darius held his position behind a small river, the Pinarus, and waited for Alexander to attack. He didn't have to wait long. Alexander called out to his men, urging them to fight bravely, picking out some by name. Then, at the head of his army's right wing, he charged. Once again, the speed and shock of the Macedonian advance sent the enemy reeling back. But in the center of the battlefield, the Macedonian phalanx was in trouble. In its effort to keep up with Alexander, its formation had become disordered. Now, in fierce fighting with Darius's Greek mercenaries, the phalanx was slowly being driven back. Alexander, seeing the danger, regrouped and led the companions in a headlong charge straight at the Persian center. The Greek mercenaries threatened on their flank were soon in disarray, and the Macedonian phalanx was able to resume its advance. Alexander fought his way towards the great king Darius himself.
It's all psyops.
Rather than face this apparently mad and fearless Macedonian king, Darius fled the battlefield in his royal chariot.
Alexander only wanted to talk, was peace.
Meanwhile,
Why'd you run? You afraid of peace?
Parmenion was in a desperate fight against the best of the Persian cavalry. If the Persians could break through here,
well of
they could
mercenary
envelop
armies.
Alexander's army and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. But Parmenion and his troops fought doggedly and continued to hold the Persians at bay. As the news that Darius had fled spread among his troops, they abandoned the fight and tried to save themselves. The battle turned into a massacre. Ptolemy, one of the Macedonian commanders, told Alexander there were so many Persian dead, his men had used them to fill a deep ravine so they could cross over it.
Just meat.
Son of Amr.
The Battle of Issus was a stunning victory for Alexander.
He's a good guy.
Heroic victory.
And amongst the spoils of victory were Darius's wife, mother, and 3 children, all taken alive and well treated by Alexander.
Seem peaceful.
With the Persian field army in retreat, Alexander now turned to subduing the western territories of the Persian Empire. The next year, 332, the coastal cities of Phoenicia submitted to Alexander, ending Persian naval power in the Mediterranean. But the island city of Tyre resisted. Tyre's defenders fought bravely and skillfully, even when Alexander began building a causeway to the island, protected by 2 giant siege towers, which they counterattacked with fire ships. But after 7 months, the city walls were breached and Tyre fell. Most of its citizens were killed or enslaved. Gaza, too, was taken by siege. Alexander continued to Pelusium on the Nile Delta, where the Persian governor of Egypt surrendered the entire province to Alexander, along with the royal treasury. At Memphis, priests of this ancient land welcomed Alexander as their liberator from Persian rule, and crowned him pharaoh. At the mouth of the Nile, he founded a new city, Alexandria, then travelled to the desert oracle of Siwa, where according to some accounts the priests welcomed him as son of Amun, king of the gods. Alexander returned east to Tyre, where in 331 BC he received news of trouble back home.
Hey,
Despite his great victories over the Persians, many Greeks regarded Alexander as a tyrant. King Agis of Sparta, with Persian support, now launched a revolt against Macedonia.
Oh, Sparta, how could you?
Antipater,
Sparta.
Alexander's commander in Greece, was already dealing with rebellion in Thrace.
Yeah, it sounds more like you guys suck
But
at
he
management.
quickly marched south and met Agis in battle near the city of Megalopolis.
Sparta.
Even the legendary Spartans were now
do.
no match for Macedonian military
How could
power.
you, Sparta?
That's what they always do.
Could you?
What else would they do?
This is a betrayal. It was
The
fine.
Spartan army was crushed. King Agis himself was among the fallen.
That's what they do.
I guess you should have joined. For peace.
When have they done that?
For peace.
With his base in
stories, though.
Greece secure once more, Alexander advanced towards the Persian heartlands, seeking a final showdown with Darius. He received a letter from the Persian king offering him a fortune in gold, his daughter in marriage, and half his empire in exchange for peace. But Alexander's stunning victories, all the oracles and acclamations, had now convinced him that his destiny was to rule the world.
That is peace.
That's not so much
He
peace.
rejected
That is-
the
there's a
Persian
peace
king.
offer on the table.
There is and the
didn't
destiny
want
of
to
peace
know.
is
I mean,
far
so
greater
it's-
than the promise of
He
peace.
was
It's a little bit of
trying to take
Cheney-ish,
it all.
No.
you know, manifest destiny Cheney thing.
No.
A little bit there. A little
No.
bit there. And, you know,
No.
maybe if Alexander had been a responsible adult, Cheney would have been a little less immature about it. I don't know. Just saying.
Research and art.
Just
No.
saying. Just saying. There's a peace offer on the table. Thank you
No,
for being
the
mature about it,
destiny-
Persia.
The,
Just
the
saying.
destiny of peace is far greater than a promise of peace.
This is why he's
if
Alexander
he-
the Great and
if
not
he's-
Alexander the Good.
He is
okay?
on. He is
He's
great
not
and good.
that
And
good of a
he-
guy.
He is great, and good.
Yeah,
You, what I want
he's
everyone to
okay.
understand.
He's all right.
What I want everyone to understand is that Alexander was told by a lot of people, "Hey, yo, we're gonna go for this destiny of peace,
Yeah.
right?" And you know, he solved the knot by cutting it because I mean,
That's not
if-
solved.
no, that's what it is. He did it through peaceful means. So he's given the destiny,
Stop.
the destination of peace. Whereas if I make a promise and guess what? Oh, I take that promise back. We're not gonna have peace anymore. He's going for destiny of peace, that's what he should have just said to him. Hey, just give me the whole thing, and we'll be at peace. You can be my
He was out for the
father-in-law.
whole- yeah.
You can make some snide remarks about me putting up Christmas decorations.
what he did.
But Darius didn't want that.
No,
He said he was going to give him half of it. As far as I'm
I get a
concerned,
referee in here?
as far as I'm concerned, we are witnessing a man's journey for world peace and understanding. Okay, and Alexander is clearly trying to go that pathway. And what does King Darius do? He says, "Oh wait, guess what? I'm going to give you half my empire and my daughter."
The West is a cult of narcissism to Alexander the Great, and the East is a communal philosophical project of harmony. And you see it played out here, and we'll see it get played out again and again throughout history. I love these things.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, folks. We hope you enjoyed this historically accurate response and reaction to this awesome, great series, Alexander the Great. If you want us to react to a video, type in the comment section below. And dare I say it, if there's any other awesome tidbits of information of the great peaceful warrior Alexander the Great, type in the comment section below, because I think we
Peaceful
need...
warrior.
Yes, he's a warrior for peace.
Is he good at that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, he's winning, so that's great. So already, there you go. All
right.
So with that being said, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and share our content on social media. We'll see you guys here next time as we continue on with Alexander the Great's bizarre, awesome, peaceful journey.
Nice.